Come here,
He said,
bud.
you really messed this up now. I said, I know.
Does it sound off?
Hey, I didn't choose the installer doors.
You're all messed up here. That ain't the truck, brother.
No, I'm sorry. There's one more.
Man, I just can't
Record to the cloud or
I'm gonna
record
get
to
edge
the
of my
computer?
computer and then go from there.
Okay.
Considering this.
Ready to start this? Yeah. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and open the Colorado City Metro District, study session, October 26, 2021 at 6 p.m.
All right, in your packet, you have multiple property offers. First one, they did have 5-6 comps with each one of them. I didn't put them in the packet because it would have been more of a book than what it is. The first one, you have unit 7. There's lots 443, 460, 676, 674, 727, 743. That is a total of 6 properties. Their offer for the 6 properties were $7,500. In our books, they're
7,500 each or 7,500 for all?
for all of them.
Okay.
They have water and sewer?
Unit 7 is over on this side. And they're kind of spread out, all of them. They're on the other side of the highway, on the side of the highway. There is no water, there is no sewer on that. On the average, I think we've been looking at $2,000 at the minimum if they didn't have water and sewer.
Anything on those guys?
Questions, concerns?
Questions?
I recommend we move past, real estate, reading these. It seems
Okay.
like the entire package. Put the same information.
Next one?
I'm sorry, what do you?
Moving on?
Okay, you want the next set of real estate?
Yep.
Okay, you have lots, 112, 113, 114, 115 in unit 1. They all do have water and sewer in the street. There is 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of property. They're offering $10,000 for the 4 pieces of property. So you're looking at 22,550 piece of property. Actually, on our books, they're worth $5,600 a piece.
Mr. Chairman, I ask that we move past all of these. The entire package seems to be correct.
Is this way? Anybody else have any questions? We'll just move past the real estate. No. Let's just
Move past it?
the real estate.
Okay. Next on the agenda, we are on the study session. We have resolution 12-2021 camping and abandoned vehicles. Last meeting, I gave this to you to look at and have any changes or additions that we needed to do. I have not heard from anybody, so we're at that point with it. I went through, looked at it. Some of the things that I had issues with was the 72 hours. I know that's usually state on highways. I don't know if that can be,
County code.
is that county too? Okay. I wasn't quite sure whether it was aligned with the county or not.
We have to align with them anyhow, and I'm pretty sure they are.
Okay.
This is our second reading, or is this?
We haven't read it. The last one, I just gave it to the board for information that me and the lawyer worked on it, got it set up. She said if you wanted to research it anymore and go more in depth, we could, but That's the dollar signs.
Yes,
I'd like to speak for a moment.
go for it.
I think I could see some, writing on the front. We listed, whereas the board finds that camping on streets within the district, it didn't list green belts and open spaces on the front of this in two different spots. And then, but on the back, where we actually get into the, rule that we're creating, 2.5.5 is camping. Number 2, the back says the board hereby amends district rules and regulations to add a new subsection to 16.2 on parks, green belts, and open spaces. 16.2.12 does say camping, no camping will be allowed on property owned by the district, including without limitation parks, green belts, or open spaces, without prior approval, written approval by the manager. I don't know if we should be giving approval on anything, because we have the exception down here, except for camping in the Greenhorn Meadows campground. That's the only place the board has approved, and I don't see a reason for the manager to be approving camping outside the campgrounds.
The only thing that I don't know is like our 4-H deal that we had that one year for the archery. You know, they did set up campers out there for the event and stuff like that. Now, would you consider that camping, or?
You would, but why can't you, if you're going to donate a space like that, give them a corner of the campground and stay within the boundaries that our insurance covers the campground. It doesn't necessarily cover anything else.
No, but what I'm saying is they're setting up a camper as, say, their office and stuff.
Office is different than, your camping is actually described in here, I believe, as active staying overnight.
Okay.
So if they're not staying overnight, that would not be camping.
I think
Could
a
we
couple-
even allow napping in here?
I think a couple stayed overnight there, Bob, from
Yeah, but that's what I'm getting at.
Just
If you
to-
don't stay overnight, just ship them down to campgrounds, because our insurance covers all of that.
The only thing is, you know, they have a lot of equipment that they have out there and stuff, and they don't want vandals, so that's why they're
I mean,
staying there.
we can make an exception when they have something like that. They could come and make an exception for that, maybe. I mean, I don't.
That's the only reason it was put in, was
I mean-
on a situation like that, I guess.
I'd just like to make sure that, we're covered insurance-wise, and I know, camping, we're covered totally on that, within the boundaries as it's set up.
And this was this was almost a national archery thing. They were from all over the tri-state area.
Right.
So I think they probably have insurance too to cover all that.
Well,
There's
their
probably no
insurance
difference than
covers
me.
them, not us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is, it's not I have no problem of granting them rights to the campground if it's within reason and Josh is not totally booked up, you know, say, hey, move you down here. It's just for the sleeping overnight. It's not stopping them from using their, offices and other equipment like you're talking about.
Right,
Just a
they had-
suggestion that I make.
because they have a lot of silhouettes, and they have a lot of stuff, a lot of money tied up out there, and I think that David's more like night watchman out there.
A watchman is fine, but that's not camping.
Anybody else?
Okay, good to there. Go on to the next. Next, I told you about a month and a half ago, our dump truck was in desperate repair. We've been looking on the internet, wherever, to find a deal. We ran across this one. It is a 2013 International Workstar. I had Aiden go up and look at it with Chris. There's less than 68,000 miles on it. It belonged to a Kansas City Water Department. I guess the guy had bought it. He had trouble with the title, turned around, It took him like a year and a half to finally get the title straightened out. He had bought another truck in the meantime, so he's looking at selling this. He still has it on hand. I believe the bed, everything, they said there was no oil leaks. He said, well, actually, I take that back. There was one oil leak, and it is on the PTO pump for the plow on the front. It's just a seal. Said it was in excellent shape by the pictures you can see. It's got a nice bed, rock bed. At this point, we are going to need a truck, and to do this, I figured it's going to be something that's going to be used in every department, whether we're hauling gravel to the campground, to the golf course. I have to haul in gravel to finish up the playground in Applewood. It's going to be needed throughout the district. We'll have to allot it as to percentages. I know with the roads program right now, I have 2 roads that I'm going to have to put in next year. One is Julian Way that they put in a request last December, so we have to get it done by April or May to get that road done. So we're in desperate need of a dump truck. And I think we ran across 1993, just like what we have, that they wanted $39,000 for. So as we go down the line here, we want to make sure that everything's upright and the title is right before we do any money change or anything like that.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak.
Go ahead.
You know, in the past, I have supported buying equipment. I was one that proposed we get a road grader, and that has come back to bite me in the ass.
Yeah.
You put in a bunch of gravel here recently, you had a dump truck, and you chose to job it out. So if we're going to contract out stuff, why the hell would we buy equipment?
Well, at the time, we needed a bunch out of as soon as we could. I know our other truck was at that point where it was ready to die. And with the truck that we presently have, I can go into it all the way through. It is not DOT certified. It is not. The bed is rusted out. The engine's about ready to go in it. We checked on the engine, Bob. It was $20,000 to rebuild that engine.
You chose to contract.
To put in a new bed, it was going to cost us another. I think it was like $8,000 just for relining that bed. The reason we chose to do it at that time is we needed it done right away, and we got it before.
So that's what I'm getting at. So you wanted it done right away, not because you needed equipment. You wanted it done right away, so you just contracted it out. Why should we buy equipment that we're not going to use because you want it done right away?
No, because also the equipment that we had couldn't do the job.
That wasn't your argument back then.
Well, that's my argument now, and it was back then too. Our dump truck couldn't handle the job that we needed it to do.
Yeah, I'll yield.
So, anybody else?
No, okay.
I have some questions.
Okay.
First of all, contracting the load, what do we use this for? We use it mostly for the road gravel, correct?
Yeah, road gravel. We also use it for not only the road gravel, but anytime we have a break, we haul in gravel to rebed our lines, all of that.
So some of the local guys that got dump trucks, what's it costing us to get a load of gravel?
We haven't done that. When we contracted it out, it was a belly dump, which was I think it's what, 20 ton they haul, and the 20 ton was costing us like $2,500. I'd have to look and see exactly per load.
Okay, and where So the gravel though, we're able to get for free
Yes,
out of the pit.
yes,
And so what we're paying for is, man, that seems awful high.
just the transport.
$2,500 for transport from the gravel pit to there for a
Yes.
20 ton. That seems extremely high.
Yeah,
Hold on just one second. Yes, Greg?
The problem we have, when we have our water breaks, we gotta go. We get them fixed, we dig them, and we gotta have a truck, and we gotta vet them. And the problem is, if what Mr. Ecker is saying is, we don't have time to wait to try to find somebody to wake up at night and bring gravel in. It's.
Well, here's my problem. with this whole thing.
It's crazy, I know, I
Is,
understand.
well, you probably don't. I used to truck for a living.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
yes, sir, you did.
And you are getting into an emissions diesel here. Okay, which is a problem. You think your diesel right now is a problem, you ain't had problems till you get into an emissions diesel. Okay, from 2013, that's right about in the middle of the crap show of converting over to emissions. They started it in roughly 2008, I believe, is when Big Rig started it. Okay, so this was only about 4-5 years into converting. You guys are going to have a lot of problems with this motor, a lot of problems, and that could run into big tickets for us. Now, I understand we got to do something about the current truck. I got no ifs, ands, or buts that we got to do something about that. But getting us into something that's going to be a maintenance nightmare, I got a problem with.
Yeah, that I don't know anything about.
I know.
I just know that my boss and I and all the guys that work, man, we've gotta have a truck that
So-
can at least go up the road.
Have we looked into refurbing the truck we got? Okay, because if we get the right company to refurb it, I realize that it'll probably cost quite a bit more money than this. But we'll end up with a vehicle that's pre-emissions, something we ain't gotta deal with, should never have to deal with, quite frankly. And a vehicle that would probably last, you refurb one of these older vehicles correctly, they'll outlive me or you.
And that's one of the reasons I sent up Chris with Aiden to go up and check this out, to see what it was, cause I know Chris, he's truck driver, he's been in industry, and they took it for a test drive, they kinda went through everything on it, and it was, they said, you couldn't find a better truck. That, for what we're getting.
Well, I think the price is excellent. What I'm concerned more about is further down the road. And did I see a hand up? No?
No, other than me,
Sorry.
what, as far as emissions, Mr. Collins, what are we talking? Do we have to, say we buy this, what do we have to do to change it to get it within?
Well, you can't de-emission.
Yeah.
You can't take the emissions off. They
Okay,
won't let you. do it.
okay, I didn't know, I mean,
Everybody and their brother would be doing it if it was legal.
no,
But-
I don't know, that's why I'm
Yeah,
asking.
no, you can't. If you buy it, it has to have the emissions that it came with brand new. And we have to keep them up to standard in order to keep it DOT legal.
Okay,
And that's my biggest concern is I watched a lot of people go out of business buying emissions vehicles because they were that big of a nightmare to keep running and keep on the road.
I didn't know,
I've talked to a few of my buddies that work for the state, that some of the state has some of these, that they have not had the problems. They had them in the earlier years, like you're saying, from 2008 to about 2010, but they finally start working out of them problems as to the emission side of it. So you're catching it more in the long run of it. The reason this truck like I said, it was under Kansas City, Water District. They go every 5 years, they've got to roll equipment because they get what they use out of it and they go buy another one. It's like when we bought pickups, it's cheaper for a government agency to buy a pickup new than it is to worry about finding somebody else's problem and having to fix it.
Yes, I yield.
May I ask you?
Yes.
I want to point some of my questions towards you, Ron, at this time. How are we standing on the roads department in the way of funding? Also, how would you account for the different departments for this piece of equipment?
In roads, we're over in, certain revenue line items, so I'm forecasting that we'll be over what we budgeted for the year. I'm sorry, what was the second part? How to account for?
How are you going to account for the different departments? In other words, you're going to get very little usage in the sewer department, extremely small usage in the parks department, and the water will use it occasionally for bedding lines like he's talking about. The majority of the use would be roads, so how would you account for the cost of it across these different departments? Are you going to look at hours or some other type of, because payment, if you had to make a payment, we have to put that payment towards the proper department. How do you plan to account for it?
So we were talking about that. I mean, we haven't decided how we're going to do it, but there's certain methods. We could estimate it at first based on how we use it in the past. Once we get the vehicle, we can log hours in each area so that for our budget next time we'll know a pretty accurate amount of where the payment should be allocated. But up front right now, it would have to be an estimate based on prior usage.
Well, and I also think, if I may speak, water and sewer is gonna use it a lot, more than you think. Because look right now, Griswold, we have a whole bunch of rock. When you put in a sewer line and a water line and you dig them up, you have all this rock that you have to take out of there. It's sitting there because we have no truck to haul it away. We have a little truck, but not a big truck. And we have lots more breaks, and every time you dig up somewhere, you don't get to sand or dirt or clay, you get into rock. And there's probably 7, 8, 9 loads up there with a big truck to get out of there, and it's been sitting there for 3 months because we don't have a truck to haul it away. So I think with all the antique road system we have and sewer systems and water lines we have, every time you dig up, you gotta take that rock somewhere. And we gotta have a truck and the right vehicles and maybe even a skidster down the road again, because the rubber tired tractors on those sharp rocks just keep getting flat. And so I think, to say water and sewer won't use it, I drive around a lot, I see things, I'm thinking, we don't live in Kansas where you have a lot of topsoil. We live in a rocky area where you go down 3 inches and you end up hitting rock.
And that's one of the things too, is you brought up a good point is, yeah, we do have a place, we put it back, that rock, we're putting it back into the gravel pit, so when they crush, they'll have more rock to do. They can crush what we're hauling as spoils back to put it within our gravel piles.
But I mean, you look at it, they do need a truck, because I know we're down to 3 men right now, and they're frustrated. Mainly is we don't have a lot of equipment, and when you have 3 people working, one's driving a loader and the other driving a truck, you have one other guy doing something else, we're not being as efficient as we should be. And maybe this isn't the right truck, but I mean, we need a truck, seriously. And we can't wait 6 months for an engine to be rebuilt. That's my opinion.
How do you, Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Yes, go ahead.
How do you plan on paying for this?
That's what we're looking at, is doing it as an allotment, as, your Parks and Rec, probably 10%, golf course 10%, water probably at a 30%, sewer at a 30%, and roads at the rest of it. Because, like I said, I think roads is gonna have the most use for it, that we're gonna have. I know it ain't gonna happen all the time. I know sewer, if we ever get into a situation where we need to haul off, like we're doing right now, we're hauling about 3 ton a trip on our trailer.
So, you're gonna take these percentages from the different departments. Well, I may have heard wrong, but do we have any money left in roads?
It appears we will by the end of the year, yes, because we're over right now.
Have you accounted for snow removal?
Yes. I
The
mean, as
last
much as
time
we
we
can
talked-
forecast.
The last time I talked about roads, by the time you factored in that, we were out of money. How did we gain money?
No, it wasn't that we were out of money. We also had a lot of gravel that was purchased, which within July, August, September, when we had these big rains, that they were hauling gravel out of our pit to fix them county roads, which they pay us a tonnage on.
Is that gravel pit within the roads department, or is that a separate
It's within
enterprise
the,
contract?
it's a separate contract,
Okay, thank you.
but it goes to, that's where it has always been dedicated to, is the roads department.
The revenue for the gravel goes to the roads department.
Well,
And it's even in the contract that it pays for equipment.
all I would worry about, and I'm not entirely too certain about the year, but I'd be worried about the regen cycles. I would be worried about if this thing takes def. I mean, we're getting into an emissions part of diesels that is not, almost gave me nightmares when I thought about it when I was trucking. And I agree that we need to get another truck, but I would hate to see you guys spending most of your time trying to keep this one running. When we need a truck that's gonna run good, take care of our stuff around here, and we're just talking about local stuff. So,
Cause,
I'm gonna leave it at that, cause I don't have a magic wand and I don't have a crystal ball that tells me whether or not this thing's gonna be a good one or not. But it could end up being a huge money for
well, like I said, it's just gotten to that point that we need to do something. And, yeah, it's a chunk of money. It is going to be something, but it's like buying a new car too. You never know whether you're gonna buy that lemon or not. And, from what I've heard from the guys after they went up and looked at it and drove it and all of that, said it handled well, brakes worked well, it ran like a raked, you know, so it is what it is.
Anything else, guys?
Okay, next, letter of, authorization for the district. I went up to get, license plates the other day in Pueblo for our vehicles. Got to the window, they asked me for a letter of authorization. I need the board to authorize me and Yvonne, either one of us has to, we can do business for Colorado City Metro District. Now I've got to wait probably another 2 months to get license plates. So
Oh my goodness.
that's kind
Any-
of bookkeeping. I handed them my card by
Any
the,
comments, questions, guys?
I have comments.
Anything?
Get her done.
Moving on.
well, Yvonne was up at, the SDA conference. She, sat and talked to SIPA.
SCA.
Yeah, SDA, but SIPA is the one that has is the one that does the micrograph, isn't it? Is through SIPA. And what they'll come in and do anyway is they'll do a, audit on our,
Cybersecurity.
cybersecurity. And that's one of the things that we're looking at with the switches and stuff, and all of our cybersecurity, and with our our IPNs, making sure that we will be secure and go through that stuff. So within the next 2 weeks, I know he's on vacation this next week, and when he gets back, he will be getting with us and our IT guys. Is it our IT from Utah?
Yeah, our IT person and
And then
anyone that does the software at the plant, works with the software on the plant. So from all business streams, we'll have a meeting and they're going to look for gaps in our system. Probably the only other requirement is that they will report these results to our insurance company. And we do have that coverage in our policy.
Mr. Chairman, Mayor, too. You know, I thought you may have learned from a week or two ago about bringing in biased people. These people are totally biased for upgrades. This will do nothing but cost us money. So, I don't make the decision. There's 4 of us tonight that makes the decisions. But we look back, and when you bring in a biased person, especially one that's going to be reporting to the insurance agents, it's going to cost us. So you should look at your people that you already employ in the way of security and cyber and tech. We haven't even got numbered from them on switches. And now we want to bring in a biased person? No, thank you. Mr. Chairman, I yield.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
what does it mean by grant? 100% grant?
yeah,
matching grant?
it's
It's a,
actually an independent firm that will come in and do the security check on all of it. It's like about a $3,500 grant,
4,300.
or
It's
$4,300.
like a scholarship.
But
And what, they're independent, they're not with the insurance company. Yeah, they'll give a report as to where we might need to do an upgrade or what might need to happen. But I think we're pretty secure as from talking to our tech. I just wanna make sure that we have that also in there, that it has been checked and it is.
So they make recommendations, but
Yeah.
it costs us
Yeah,
0.
yes.
It's there, and they're looking for gaps, like make recommendations of what we may need to. But also when I was there was a district south of Denver where they had issues where someone broke into their system and they had to, took away their whole billing system, they had to recreate their whole billing system. And it took them months. And they were talking about how even the small districts are being targeted for any kind of ransom money. So if they take our data, it's gonna cost us somehow, so I think we should just try to be as secure as we can, and have some professionals look at our gaps, that's all.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman.
Bill?
I'm a little confused. Is this gonna be free?
Yes, it will be
Well,
free.
It normally
From
costs
a
$4,300.
private company, it's going to be free?
Yes,
How do
Because
they
it's a
make that
grant.
money?
it's a grant.
Well, calling it a grant is still free. What are they gonna do to make money?
They'll get it paid from SDA.
SDA's gonna pay for it?
Yes,
Okay, and
that's who's
what-
sponsoring the
who
grant.
pays for the follow-up to it after that?
We will to do the changes that we need. Yeah, we'll have to pay for it.
No. Is there a contract that goes with it, like, you get all of the season, you get 6 months free, but then you gotta pay $9.95 a month for the next 24 months? Do we have anything like that?
No, there's no contract with it.
Okay. I've never heard of anything being free.
Ain't nothing free.
Yeah.
Did I say that out loud?
Mhm. Any more on it? Want to go on?
Anything else, guys? Moving on.
Okay, this one Bob asked me to put on preservation of records. I know we do have under Department of Personnel and agencies, we have adopted it back in 2018, we have the book in there, or 2008. Was adopted for archiving records and that kind of stuff. It does have a retention schedule on it for records and how long we have to hold them, depending on what it is. After that, I don't know what you were looking for, Bob, with this.
Thank you, I'm not looking for any of that.
Okay.
During our last executive session, information was revealed that public records have been deleted. I request that records of this meeting be preserved and held for, by the chairperson of the board. I also request efforts to be made to reverse or to recover the quote deleted records. Now, that will be a motion later on, but when I reviewed some of the things that happened at the last meeting in the executive session, there were a number of statements made that are not covered by the executive session, and I strongly believe that we're going to be sued in the near future, and I would like to preserve that executive session because it's outside of what he's talking about. And I'm looking to cover my ass and everybody else's because some things are privileged and some things are not. So at this point, I'm just informing the board that as we move forward into the meeting, the reason I'm asking for this is some of that was privileged, some of it was not. And if it's ever questioned, in-camera review can be held by a judge and we'll know exactly what is and what isn't. With that, I yield.
Executive session last meeting?
No,
nothing.
meeting before.
But I thought executive session, everything in there was private.
No, it was recorded.
Yeah, but I'm thinking it still can't be shared.
You can in-camera review.
Yeah.
It can be by
It
judge.
can be
And
reviewed.
then it's being held.
Okay, yeah.
But it was
That's no
recorded.
problem.
I mean, we have to live
Yeah.
on, guys. We can't live in a
I'm
life.
requesting it.
We can't live in a life of being sued all the time or being afraid of things. I mean, we are what we are. We're people. And I think that we just need to treat each other with respect and understanding. And quit looking for issues that aren't there. I'm sorry.
We have Neil on the line now too. The board.
Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Yeah, go ahead,
Harry,
Bill.
I understand how you feel, but this board could have stepped up and taken a different point of view with the situation that I've become aware of, and spoken with the individuals and found out what went on and taken a different tack instead of trying to brush it under the rug.
But see, the thing
I'm
is,
speaking, please.
okay,
And bringing it out in the open, finding out it was an unfortunate situation. I don't think either one of these individuals intended anything to happen. But by you guys continuing to try to hide it is making it very, very difficult. And I don't think it's going away, guys, whether you want to believe it or not.
Mr.
may I
Chairman,
respond to that? Sal?
I had the floor before I was in.
I'm sorry, go ahead and
Hold on a
stop.
second. Go ahead.
What I was getting at is, he's correct that we have a policy in place. One of the items in that policy is they have the ability to delete executive session records after 30 days. I'm trying to preserve them beyond the 30 days, just in case they're needed in a court case.
Okay.
Okay. That's,
Yeah.
so that what you said to begin with, is not what I just heard this time.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But
That's not.
now I understand what you're trying to get at, because I don't remember anything being deleted in that executive session.
You weren't here for that, and nothing was deleted in the executive session. All I'm saying is the retention of records, as he spoke about, allows for deletion after 30 days. Now, I intend to retain them beyond 30 days. So,
I understand.
See, and we didn't we weren't hiding anything because it was under the sheriff's investigation.
Did you bother to go down and talk to the individual
Hey,
and say, hey, we'll
Hey,
help
that's
you
not my
out?
job, sir, I'm
both
sorry.
are out of order, I
Yeah.
call for a point of order.
Let's move on, please.
Okay, but that's not my
Wait,
job.
wait, wait. What's wrong with transparency?
Nothing's wrong with transparency.
Okay, so
Nothing at all.
why would you want to have a situation where you're gonna delete records after 30 days? That makes no sense, that's not transparency.
Well, unfortunately,
No, there's,
unfortunately, I wasn't there.
okay, no, I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying, as a group that's making decisions for the entire Colorado City Metropolitan District, these records should be kept for years and years and years. And so, why did someone somewhere along the way say, well, we'll delete them after 30? And your reason, and I'm gonna probably get in trouble here, but there was some district managers that probably didn't want stuff out there after 30 days. There was some board members that probably didn't want stuff out there after 30 days in an executive session. And we all know what I'm talking about. So what's wrong with keeping records for years and years? I, as a businessman, I have to keep IRS records for 10 years. I have to keep state IRS or state tax records for 7 years. What the hell, 30 days? Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous.
May I answer that?
Yes.
Thank you, I agree with you, but here's the situation. The state set that time limit for executive sessions. That time limit was adopted when we changed our retention of records that were also being deleted after 30 days to indefinite, except for executive session, which the state set. And that's why I'm going down this road, is the state has set that for executive session. We did not set that when we changed everything except executive session to permanent.
But
And we can't do
yeah, wait,
nothing here in
I have a
the study
question.
session. Just real quick though, we can't do any action in the study session. That's the reason why you're not hearing any of us make
Okay, I
motions.
understand it.
'Cause we
But
can't do that.
what I'm saying is, why can't this board say, we understand what the state said, but we don't accept it?
We can,
That's
Okay.
what I'm saying.
Going
but
forward,
we've got to do it under the regular meeting.
That's
We
what I
can't do
intend to
that
do.
in this here part.
This is discussion.
This is
time.
just discussion time.
Right.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, the board could say, well, to hell with the state with their 30 days, because here's the thing, hang on, Jim. The thing is, state politicians don't want their crap out there after 30 days. I'm sorry. I got my crap boots on, I'm gonna talk plain. The state politicians don't want their crap out there after 30 days. So they put that on all of you with the same rules in executive session. But why can't this board say, to hell with the state, we're gonna
can't.
do it our way?
And that's what he's proposing
There you go.
during this study session.
All right.
And then when we move into the regular meeting, we can make a decision
I'm
at
sorry,
that point.
I just thought
That's
that was
fine,
crazy.
we just wanted to explain to you why we can't do nothing right now.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying, I just wanted to put it out there that I think that's crazy.
Anything else?
On
Yes.
that, you kinda hit the nail on the head. It is the lawyers, when you are in the executive session, they're the ones that set that stipulation.
But the
But
board,
the board
but the
has
board
the
hires,
ability to.
but the board hires the lawyers, and they can say to the lawyers, if you don't wanna do it our way, then the hell with you, we'll hire a new,
And usually
get a new
it's-
attorney.
And usually it's 90 days.
Yeah,
They
so.
say.
I'm sorry, I got, that fired me right up.
Go ahead real quick so we can move on.
Okay, I have a part 2 to this. I'm gonna suggest to the board, that we review our protocols used for, record retention. This should include district-owned, devices and personal-owned devices, that are used during, the employment. with time and location date stamps on this, and an attempt to recover said deleted documents. So, there were some documents, mentioned as of deleted. I personally believe that, some, tech person can recover the documents. That's all I've got to say on that part. I yield.
Anything else? Okay, moving on to the CCAAC review.
Gary, you wanna kick that?
Okay, we met, and Bob Smith and I went out again. We got three new builds. One is a fence.
Then it's
No,
garage.
no, it's a garage. And you're in your packets, we went out and looked at them all, and they're all staked, and they went through the, regional zoning. And, we're asking that you approve all three of them. One is on, Mustang, 300 Mustang Way, it's a house. The one on Isabella Drive is a, garage. And the one on, Becker Place is a, house. And we have no, complaints right now, to come forward for the board to take action on. We're holding off on a couple of things with the resolution about the trespassing thing. Besides, you know, it shakes out a lot of places, that resolution.
Anything else under the study session, guys? I'm gonna close Colorado City study session at 6:47 p.m. And we're going to open the regular meeting of the Board of Directors. Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For all of those of you so inclined and would like to join me in a moment of silent reflection, please do so. Okay, moving on to quorum check. We have 4 directors here in the building, and I believe you there, Neil?
He shook his head yes.
Okay. So all 4 of us are present. Neil's on Zoom, the rest of us are here.
Mr. Chairman, could I get somebody to verify Neil's on? Can you turn on his mic?
He's right here. Neil, you got your mic?
Unmute, there you go.
There you go. Can you just let us know you're here?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
It's not an impossible.
Don't look like an imposter, although he does look like he might be having fun down there. Okay, public hearing for, do I need to go ahead and close this and reopen?
Yes.
So I need to close the regular meeting and reopen the public hearing, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm closing the Colorado City Metro Board meeting at 6:49 and opening the public hearing for purposes of changing the rules and regulations.
Do you want me to read the resolution?
Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Let's go ahead and let him read the resolution real quick, or do you want to do that?
I can do it if you want.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Bob.
Resolution 12-2021, resolution of the Board of Directors of Colorado City Metropolitan District, amending rules and regulations to add provisions regarding overnight camping on district property and streets and abandoned vehicles. It's my suggestion, after reading through this, the front needs a slight correction. You'll see on the whereas, number 1, 2, 3, 4. If you go down to the 4th whereas, the board finds that camping on streets, and then you should add right there at that point, green belts and open spaces then within the district poses risk. So, adding that verbiage there, and adding the exact same verbiage, 2 more whereas down where it says, vehicles on district streets, and, there again, it should say green belts and open spaces.
I'm sorry, where was that?
Where was the last one?
2, you go down from where we were at the 1,
Mhm.
skip 1, and the next one there, the end of it, the very last. And then on the back of this, where we're actually getting into the stated, rule under, let's see, we're going to skip the first paragraph, number 2 line, and go into 16.2.12 camping. No camping will be allowed on property owned by the district, including without limitation, district parks, green belts, and open spaces, which we just talked about. And I would ask that you scratch without prior written approval by the district manager. That keeps us, above board and everybody on the same playing field. That's my suggestion to the changes. But with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield.
Okay, anybody else? Do I have a motion?
We can't do that in
We're just in a public hearing.
Oh, just in the public hearing, we'll do that
You
afterwards, I
can
guess.
take, you can
Public
take
comment.
information from the audience.
Anybody in the audience have any comments on this?
They probably haven't seen it.
The little one does?
This is the first hearing on this, right?
No, this is the final hearing.
Rick,
Yes,
have you made sure that this flows with, Title 17
Yes.
on their camping? Okay.
Yeah. Should you read it all or not? No, I mean, I don't. Could you summarize what it means to them?
do we wanna read the whole thing?
Well, or just summarize.
That's why I asked.
Yeah, go ahead and read the whole thing, that way everybody can.
Okay, resolution of the Board of Directors, Colorado City Metro District, amending rules and regulations to add provisions regarding overnight camping on district property and streets and abandoned vehicles. Whereas Colorado City Metro District, the district is a quasi, municipal corporation and political subdivision of the state of Colorado, and whereas CRS 32-1-1011M states that, among other powers, the Board of Directors, the board has the power to adopt, amend, and enforce bylaws and rules of the regulations not in conflict with the constitutional laws of the state for carrying on the business objectives and affairs of the board and of special districts. And whereas the board finds that camping on district-owned property should be restricted to established campgrounds for the public health and safety of residents and campers to provide
To
preserve district property and encourage camping in areas with sufficient infrastructure to support the camping. And whereas the board finds that camping on the streets, green belts, and other spaces within the district poses a risk to public health and safety and should be not permitted. And whereas the board finds the abandoned vehicles are prohibited by county code and this district rules should reflect such prohibition. And whereas the board would like to amend the rules, regulations of the district, the rules to set forth requirements regarding overnight camping and abandoned vehicles on district streets, green belts, and open spaces. And whereas the board held a public hearing on the proposed amendments to the rules of October 12th, which we gotta change that would be today, it would be the 26th, after published notice of the proposed amendment, and whereas The board finds that it is in the best interest of the residents of the district to amend the rules as set forth within. Now, therefore, to be resolved by the board of directors of the district as follows. The board hereby amends the district rules regulations to add a subsection to section 2.5.5 under definition, which will read as follows. 2.5.5 camping shall mean residing or dwelling temporarily in a place with shelter and conducting activities of daily living, such as eating or sleeping in such place, without limiting the generality of foregoing. The term includes the acts of staying overnight in the powered motor vehicle, including but not limited to recreational vehicles, trailers, fifth wheel trailers, and pop-up trailers. The term, however, does not include napping during the day or picnicking or staying overnight in a permanent structure that meets the requirements of Pueblo County Code. The board hereby amends the district rules and regulations to add a new subsection to section 6.2 on parks, greenbelts, and open spaces, which will read as follows. 6.2.12 camping. No camping will be allowed on property owned by the district, including without limitation district parks, greenbelts, and open space, except for camping in Greenhorn Meadows Campground or other established campgrounds in accordance with all rules, regulations, and requirements of such campground. Violation of this provision is subject to the enforcement provision of section 16.2.8 of these rules and regulations. In addition, violators will be subject to civil action for trespass or damages. The board hereby amends the district rules and regulations to add a new section 16.2, which will read as follows. 16.2 district streets. 16.6.1 camping. No camping shall be allowed on public streets and right of ways within the district without prior written. We need to take that now.
Yeah.
2, I'm sorry. Violations of this provision is subject to enforcement provisions of section 16.2.8 of these rules and regulations. 16.6.2 abandoned vehicles. It shall be unlawful for any person to abandon any vehicle on any public right-of-way, public parking lot, or other public property, or upon any private property without the consent of the owner or occupant of said property. An abandoned vehicle is any motor vehicle left standing more than 72 hours upon any portion of a highway, right-of-way, public parking lot, or other public property, or upon any private property without the consent of the owner or the occupant of such property. Violation of this provision is subject to the enforcement provision of section 16.2.8 of these rules and regulations and county code. The rules amendment adopted here shall be effective immediately upon approval of this resolution. The district manager is directed to update the rules and post an updated version of the district's website. The district manager on his or his designee is authorized to post notices or signs regarding the camping restriction to notify the individuals in violation of the rules and to take appropriate action to enforce the rules. Adopted and approved on today, October 26th, by the Board of Directors of Colorado City Metropolitan District, Pueblo, Colorado.
Okay, so I need to close that, right, guys, and go back into the meeting?
Yes,
Yes,
unless there's other comments.
we got one
As I
quick
was
question
listening to
here.
the reading of that, and maybe I didn't think, you said that there was a comment you made without the permission of the property owner.
No, it was without prior written approval of the, which we
No,
need.
you're talking about private property, abandoned vehicles left on public or private property without permission.
16.6.2.
Okay.
Yeah, with,
Yeah,
without the consent of the owner or occupant of said property.
So I can have a junkyard as long as I approve of it?
no, you can't, because
I
within,
own the property, I just approved of it.
no, within, Title 17. You have
Well, I know that's
somebody
Title
that's-
17, but you're not Title 17. And your thing doesn't flow with Title 17 then. Because what you're saying there is anybody owns a piece of property and they wanna let their uncle or their aunt store a used car there, they can do that. Even though it's a violation of covenants, but now you're saying they can.
Bill, I think, and maybe I'm not hearing it right either, but that's under a section on abandoned vehicles.
Well,
It's above, if they aren't abandoned, then it would fall under the camping.
what's the
which is
definition of
above.
abandoned vehicle? You just read that. Not licensed, left for more than 72 hours.
Actually, nowhere in there does it say anything about being licensed,
Doesn't the
but
covenant,
it says being abandoned.
pardon me?
It says being abandoned for
What's
72
the
hours
definition
without
of
their
abandoned?
permission.
If you haven't
Left it
defined
there.
that.
Threw the keys in the, who knows where, and walked off.
Well, under county code, it's being left without a license. It doesn't have license plates, it's abandoned. That's why I asked earlier if it floated. Title 17, it doesn't appear to.
Can't answer that.
I can't either.
I'd have to do
All I can tell you is
something.
we paid lawyers to take care of this.
And I used to handle 25 of them too.
Anybody else? Okay,
I don't know whether you wanna deal with, on any other private property without the consent of the owner. If you took that line out of there, where it is just anything that is left on our roadways and stuff, it would.
take which one out now?
Right on 16.6.2, under 72 hours upon any portion of the highway, right of way, public parking lot, or other public property, and then scratch or upon any, private property
Yeah.
without the consent of the owner or occupant.
So scratch the without the consent of the owner or
Right.
occupant of such property?
That's their property, yeah.
Because if you look at the heading of it, we're talking about our property and green belt and all that stuff, but then all, what's right there talks about private property, and that's
So where are we gonna scratch it from?
From, right after public property,
right after the comma,
Right after the comma,
Make a
of
period.
public property, make a period there,
and then scratch the rest of it.
and then scratch the or upon any private property.
yeah,
Scratch that
all the way to the period.
all the way down to
Correct.
county code?
Or you scratch it all the way down to,
No, you still want the
No, you still want-
No, you still want the violations,
Just
to such property. So we're scratching all the way to such property.
Yeah.
And then violation of this provision is subject to the enforcement provisions of 16.2.8 of these rules and regulations in county code.
Thank you guys.
Correct?
Yep.
Yep.
No problem.
Okay.
That's why I wanted it read.
Okey doke. Anything else?
That's it.
Nope. Okay, so I'm going to close the, public hearing, and I'm gonna reopen the regular meeting at 7:04 PM. Approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the agenda as written,
Oh, I noticed something here too.
with
It's
the
on-
exception of what Jim's gonna tell me.
It was, and after seeing all of that, it was like, I looked down and I seen I don't have property offers in the agenda items.
That's okay.
So we probably ought to formally
Address
reject them. So, yes, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I move we accept the agenda with the addition of property offers under agenda items number. Mr.
Sorry, we
Chairman,
have
I'd
one
like to
thing to
amend
add.
that. Amend 2 items under preservation of records.
They're already on there, aren't they?
No.
Yeah, preservation of.
Yeah, preservation of
Preservation of
records.
I've got 2 items under that.
Oh, what would you like to add?
The
What?
removal of the 30-day deletion and then the attempts to recover. So that's the two items within preservation of records.
And attempt to recover. Attempt to recover. Yes. Yes.
Sorry, my name's Samantha Rothschild, by the way, and I had emailed on the 17th to try to get onto the agenda just with concerns or questions about Parks and Rec.
Did you sign up on the little sheet in the back?
I did.
So we can,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll just address it
Okay.
then if that'll work for you.
That's fine with me. This was the time to talk about it.
Yep,
and I
no,
want to make sure that I was,
perfect, we're perfect.
okay,
Anybody else that was needing to speak? Did everybody sign up back there?
yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, now, where am I at?
Approve of the agenda.
Never did get voted on,
We're
but did we
waiting
get
on
a
a
second?
second.
You made the agenda, you did a
I
amendment.
accept his amendment.
You accept his amendment, you gonna second it all?
Yes, I'll second.
Okay, we gotta, yeah,
A vote.
let's vote.
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Agenda approved.
Okay, you have approval of minutes for study session on October 12th and regular meeting and special meeting for October 21st.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the minutes due to the statements we add to each section. The statements are in there, correct?
It's in the very last.
I have a motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Aye. I can't hear you there, Neil.
Yes, I have to abstain on
No, he doesn't.
discussion meetings, but I approve those.
He doesn't.
Okay.
It's his choice.
That's your choice on the abstention of the other ones, but okay. Anybody opposed? Minutes approved.
We don't have any bills payable, financial report at this time, operational report. Go to reading of chairperson of statement of conduct and demeanor.
All right. Where'd you hide the statement on me there, Neil? In order for the business of the board to be conducted in the most effective and expeditious manner, it is necessary that all persons present maintain a demeanor of civility towards the board, staff, and each other. Conduct that appears threatening or aggressive will not be tolerated. Shouting, speaking out of order, or the use of offensive gestures similarly are not acceptable. Such behavior shall constitute the forfeiture of your right to remain in attendance and may, as a point of order brought to the board's attention by council or any board member, including the chairperson, result in your being asked to leave the meeting by the chairperson, or upon your refusal being escorted out of the meeting by the proper authorities. Everybody just be nice, please. Okay, citizen input.
Clipboard. And then we'll plug you out.
I just, before we start that, I have a few people who are trying to access the live feed, and it says the host will let you in soon, apparently.
Oh, okay, I just got one right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay, great,
I
thanks.
try to keep my eye on it.
No, it's hard to when you're, yeah, got it.
Okay, first on the list, Samantha Rothschild?
Yes, yep.
Okay.
It's kind of a mouthful.
Samantha, if you could just address yourself to the board, give us your name and address, and
Stand up.
Sure.
stand up,
yes,
please.
I can do that. Okay, I'm Samantha Rothschild. I live at 3276 Aldrin Village. And I also teach up here. Anything else?
Nope.
Great. That's good. Do you want me to stand while I address the board?
It's up to you.
Hi.
We're all together. Do you want us to kind of?
If you guys all want to do it together, you're more than welcome to, yes.
Okay, well, we had met over the last couple of weeks as a group of parents just to express some concerns amongst each other about Parks and Rec. And I guess we wanted to come to the meeting today to just begin the discussion with questions, because there may be a lot of things that we don't know that are coming up the pipeline. So they might not, they might not be concerns for us. But I guess our first question that we had discussed together was whether or not we knew if there's a master plan for Parks and Rec in terms of youth sports. Or if there's been any recent discussion on that, because
Josh,
as a
are you
group,
online?
That is.
Please let him continue, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm
No,
just
you're-
making sure
don't-
Josh is the one that's gonna answer a lot of these questions.
Sure.
Josh, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Are you hearing all this?
Yes.
Okay, continue.
Great. So we just wanted to start with the question and maybe get some feedback from Josh or from anybody else in Parks and Rec of just what a master plan for youth sports might be, because as a collective group that's here tonight, we're headed into our third sport where we're going to be taking kids into Pueblo to participate in something. And just as a PE teacher locally, I get a lot of these questions from parents who think that I have some kind of involvement in that, and so I thought that coming to board meetings and to and starting that discussion would be a good place for me to start and to be more versed.
Josh?
So the question is the master plan?
Yes.
There is no master plan.
Okay, so what type of answer can we give this young lady?
I guess as parents, we would like to know, is there going to be a time where we can return to what we had, where we don't have to truck our kids into Pueblo for youth sports, where we actually have a league participation?
There he is.
There he is.
Woo!
I guess he jumped
Well,
in
look
the
at
game.
there.
About time. There is no master plan as far as where we're going right now. We're trying new things to figure out what works. We have issues with different sports everywhere. Has issues with enough coaches. That is the main issue we have. Like this past soccer season, we went with middle school coaches and middle school kids running the program. We did it for baseball too. As a competitive baseball, softball coach, I loved it. I thought the kids got more out of it. Last year's soccer program, we had 10 teams and 5 coaches.
So last spring, we all as parents got together and put together a baseball team for our kids, for 8 and under kids. There were a couple other parents that did that for other age divisions. Our kids got to play because we put that together. So we had 15 kids, whatever it was. What are the other kids that parents didn't get a team together? Where are they supposed to go?
We still ran a t-ball, baseball, and softball program here.
But how come we never heard
You
anything
didn't have
about
a
any of it?
program. You just like you did with soccer. You had a weekend where you're having what do you call it?
Like a camp?
Like a camp.
It was a camp instead of a league, but it was 5 weeks long. So five.
Was it
different days,
actually
just
a
like our
t-ball
season.
thing? Because these guys have little t-ballers that we're
Yeah.
unaware of it.
Yeah, it was on the website. It was on Facebook.
So we went back and looked at Facebook to try and determine if we missed something, because we didn't want to come to the meeting, and say this didn't happen and it really did.
Yeah.
And maybe I missed it, or because
Anytime we start a new season, I put it on the Greenhorn Valley page. Typically, pre-COVID, I was able to hand out forms through the elementary school.
Which
Last
you
year we
returned to
couldn't.
do.
Can we do that again
Yes,
this year?
you may,
Okay.
yeah.
So that'll help a lot too.
Yes, it will.
But then we also have parents that call me because they homeschool, so I try to share it. I tried to become a member of the homeschool page and they still haven't let me in, so.
Well, and it
Probably
shouldn't,
time difference.
you know.
I guess as a parent, the question could be, could we have you as the director of Parks and Rec come up with a plan and share it with the community so we know what directions? We're not the only ones that are curious.
And I love that you're trying new things, but I think one feedback that I'm getting from parents who are coming up to the school thinking that I have answers that I don't, is that, you know, four weeks in a row of hour-long exposure to soccer is really not gonna, the kids are gonna, it'll be like, you know, when you go over the summer and the kids forget everything that you taught them, you know what I mean? And so those leagues kind of gave us an opportunity to have an hour-long practice and then have games on the weekends and to have greater exposure to those things, and more time on the field. That's just, I don't know, that's just some feedback that
I can understand that part of it, but then I've also, had the parents who come to me and are absolutely irate about the person who is coaching their
Yeah,
team.
I get that.
I know I've had that conversation with you.
So,
Well, not you, but.
I was gonna say, I think something like after the necessity of us taking our kids somewhere else and seeing how they run their program, they have a coaches meeting. And as like just a Zoom meeting, they go over everything, and then there's also some training. So I don't know if implementing those sorts of things might be helpful for the coaching aspect,
We
so
tried.
that clueless people.
We did that 2 years ago with soccer. I had a day where we had, cause soccer, I coached it years ago, but it's not my sport, baseball, softball, basketball, I can do all those. I had Ben Beck down there and Denise Betts, and we had one coach show up.
So how can we help? Cause I just can see you're frustrated with it, and
I
I
am.
totally get it.
I am, and I absolutely love what you guys have done, putting your own baseball teams together. I think we worked with all of you because you had the parents, you brought the kids.
And we appreciate that.
And we're working
We
on
appreciate
getting more
that 100%.
field time.
When we had our meeting to prep for this meeting, we wanted to make it very clear that we aren't here to attack anyone. We just want, there were a lot of kids that didn't get to play baseball because there was nobody else to coach. They didn't have a rec league to go to. So, and we're getting ready, the same parents that did baseball, we're getting ready to take kids into Pueblo to play basketball this winter. And we don't want to drive to Pueblo. We would rather, stay up here and support. But I understand that how you can be frustrated too, but we would like to come up with a solution.
So I'm working with other communities. I have talked with Walsenburg about, and Levita, trying to combine, since they are doing their own league now. That really hurt us last year. Soccer, 1st and 2nd grade, we had a league. We had the same 2 teams that had to play each other every week.
So Josh, in the interest of time here, what about you getting with the parents here, maybe even using here to get with the parents, and you guys coming up with a plan of attack on this stuff and see if you can't get something solved?
Yeah, we would love to work with you.
You guys
Josh.
call me.
Yeah.
You can use the office here. You guys can meet here one of these days this week and maybe,
Oh, we have the rec center or wherever.
or at the rec center, and you guys can crunch some ideas and figure some of this out. I understand the
I
lack
can
of
tell
parents
all
as
of you
far as
just
volunteering.
real quick. When you were talking, when I was listening on my phone on the way here, Parks and Rec or whoever else, that's the hardest part right now. I'm the only one. I
Right,
am
we
Parks
had
and Rec.
imagined that was
And
the
you
case.
can ask Jim and Yvonne how much I've begged the last 2 years, because most Parks and Rec have a recreation director.
Right.
I want to get to that point.
So then maybe
That's
that's a
why
good
we're trying to
question
make
for
more money
the
with
board, is that?
other areas so we can add
And I
staffing.
think we'd be happy to help,
Yes.
volunteer as
Yes.
parents if you need someone to coordinate or, cause, we're gonna be there anyway. And
Yeah.
we want our, these guys have baseball, but this little one wants
Yeah.
to play and he's too young, so we'd love to help you.
Okay.
And just as volunteers,
So,
do whatever.
can you, I guess, so in interest of, like I said, in interest of time,
Absolutely.
why don't you get with these parents? And as far as personnel are concerned, trust me, this board has been working on personnel matters. We've been working on personnel matters, we've also been working on where we get the money. Because everything costs a fortune.
Well, I think that sounds like a great idea then to get with you, Josh,
Yes, absolutely.
and whatever. One thing to mention before we move on
business
from
control.
topics is just, and this might also fall on your shoulders as well, unfortunately, is, the last couple of years, just kind of the evolution of the Greenhorn campground. what kind of facility is it actually? Like, is it a public campground run by the same rules that the state would have for any other public campground?
And
et
to
cetera?
save time, I'll be blunt. When we have practice down at the field, that is a beautiful field. It is
It's
a beautiful
amazing.
facility. And when we have practice down there, we constantly have permanent residents that come out of that campground that are clearly strung out, that are frightening for our children. And we have found needles. We have found all sorts of fun stuff down there during practice.
I was down there when the clown walked through.
Yes.
He was not in the campground. He walks through the campground and he's no longer here. But we have implemented a background check for people
You
in
have.
the campground.
Okay.
We've evicted numerous people.
So
Is there a length of stay? I mean, are we letting the public campground be used as a permanent residence? Because my understanding of Colorado statutes is that you can't stay, like whatever, it's 14 days in any 28-day period, right? But if that's not what that place is, if that's
The board has set the rules for the campground, and
Okay.
we do allow long-term stay. I can tell you right now, we have a lot of people waiting for apartments. I have 2 that are supposed to be leaving this week, waiting for their apartment to open up. We have 3 that are building houses here right now.
It's not for permanent residents, it's for people that need a long-term solution, like the people building houses. They need a place to stay while their houses are being built, stuff like that.
It's
So-
a
so
fine
while-
line, it is a huge headache,
Okay.
but I'm
So while they're there, I understand that, and I understand needing a place to stay while you're building a house or whatever it is.
But we have a
Is-
private
is-
campground for that.
Well, and is there some sort of covenants within the campgrounds, like maybe you can't have chickens, or maybe you shouldn't have a chain link fence, or maybe you shouldn't have junky cars for sale? Right now, there's one sitting out there for sale. I mean, I don't think that's too much to ask.
I just want to talk to them today to have them move their car.
Okay, and there isn't any animals in the campgrounds, right?
Dogs. Just dogs.
Just dogs?
Deer.
Yeah. So there shouldn't be any chicken coops or anything like that. So, anyway.
So what are the board's regulations then on, like, is there at all a length of stay, or is it like an as needed basis? I guess, in my opinion, we have a private campground, a privately run business campground where those kinds of needs could be met. And personally, as our family used to, we would take I have sons the exact same age as these 2, and we would go twice a summer, and we haven't been since the summer of 2018, because my son picked up 2 used syringes. And it's just a real shame to see such a beautiful thing go away for our local
And that's-
campers.
I really don't wanna get off into this stuff right now, but I'm telling you, I feel your pain, but we gotta, it's our country. It's
But-
what's happened.
And
It is what's
and
happened,
speaking-
guys.
I'm
I'm chasing them out of the front of my store all the time. We're constantly picking up needles in the parking lot when I go to work in the morning, trying to clean the place up. It's the world, unfortunately, that we live in. And
the
we've
private
got them
campground-
all up and down the street, they're camping in the gutters, you name it, you see them.
In the KOA, they have the same issue. They find needles, they find drugs, they find this, that, and the other. At the
It's
Diamond
horrible.
Shamrock,
And it's
they're
not
finding. I
necessarily
mean, I'm
from
sorry,
long-term
you know,
people.
it's
Somebody could come in there
it's
for
a
day
terrible
and
thing to
be-
say, but it's the world we live in, and
We understand that, but we
And-
can also
and there's
start local.
actually-
And I
but-
don't think we should throw our hands in the air to it.
no, we're not throwing our hands here. But the thing is that
Yeah.
there's a certain amount of money and there's a certain amount of manpower, and so somebody can drive through the park.
We need to go ahead and, I understand this. We
But
need to
somebody
go ahead
can
and
drive
move
through
this
the
on.
park at 8 o'clock in the morning and go back at 11, and they're going to find the same kind of stuff. So, do you have an answer? I mean, what's the answer? We try to have to work as best we can.
Anyway, moving on. Yes,
Thank you. Thank
what
you
would you
all.
like?
I want to address something that Josh said.
Go right ahead.
He said he put the information on the Greenhorn Valley page. That is absolutely wrong again. This board has its own page so that the entire community can come to our page and look and see what's there, not an individual business. So please, use the stuff this board has set up. Now, as for the volunteers, this board does have a volunteer program, and I would ask that a committee that these people want to set up, be formally set up, get them set up, because our insurance covers volunteers. So we need to make sure that these people get a committee to run their operation and work with the Parks Department.
So, can you also make sure that that happens when you're talking to these guys about that stuff? About setting up a volunteer committee for the parents, for the ones that wanna volunteer? Because he is right, we do have insurance that can cover something like that if we wanna do something like that. Okay? And I'm sorry, guys, we just got a lot of stuff that we gotta continue on here.
Thank you for
So-
having us. Thank you.
Yes.
It's bedtime.
Moving on.
Next we have Travis Nelson.
Hello, everybody. Travis Nelson, 927 Claremont. That's where our business is at. Arizona Star Equities. Just want to introduce ourselves to you. We're the ones that made the offer on the 6 properties out in Unit 7. Excited to do some good business with you. I know you guys might return another price. We're eager to start purchasing some property. We're looking at a couple hundred lots here in Colorado City, and hope we can have a good, positive working relationship with you. And just wanted to introduce myself.
What was your first name again?
Travis.
Travis.
That's it.
And then, Jake.
Well, I have a couple questions.
Okay.
We buy water from the water stand, and my mother-in-law is on Colorado City Water, and we get these notices to not drink the water, or boil the water, or whatever the case may be.
We haven't sent out any notices.
Yeah, don't start shaking your heads, no. Just
We have
listen.
not sent out any notices.
Just listen to me. It hasn't been lately, but it's been in the past. Just listen to me.
Yes, there has been in the past.
Yes, and just listen to me. And the water at a couple of the different business places is not drinkable. The customers are complaining about the taste of the tea, the coffee, etc., etc., etc. And I come here and I listen to you guys talk about buying a new dump truck. And I look around the city metro district and I see a brand new Ford Ranger pickup. And I see a new Ford pickup. And I see some new equipment. And I understand Greg saying we need this dump truck because if we have an issue at 2 o'clock in the morning, we need a dump truck. The thing is, I see a lot of money going other places. As far as like a dump truck, there are 3 trucking companies right here in the valley, and you know, High Country, you know, a couple others I could name them, but whatever. That you guys could set up an arrangement with, that if they need to come out at 2 in the morning because there's a pipeline break, they'd be happy to do it. You give them some money, you give them a little extra, and it saves on the cost of buying a new dump truck. And the number of times that you would need an emergency vehicle might amount to a handful in a year. The number of times that you need to haul gravel somewhere to work on a road or do this, that, and the other, again, over the course of a year is minimal. So going out and buying more equipment after you're buying new pickups, and you're buying new pickups, and you're buying new pickups, and you're buying new equipment, and then you have this hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment that is supposed to inspect the sewer lines or whatever it is, and now you're talking about contracting it out because you don't have the manpower. I see all this money going in the wrong direction. You guys know that the water is a huge issue. The infrastructure is a huge issue. I see you guys flushing sewer lines for the fire hydrants. Now, I don't know if that's a state mandated deal or whatever, but there's thousands of man hours spent that that money was paying for the people that work here, flushing lines to nowhere. We got fire hydrants all over this area on a city that was supposed to be built in the 60s that never exists. All these roads are cut in that don't exist. Our property has approximately 47 lanes on it, don't exist. I got people coming out all the time saying, where's this road? It goes through my property and it doesn't exist. We got all this money going in different directions, and it should be aimed at one thing or maybe two. And now I see in the paper and I see on the ballot issue, you got almost outside money coming in. And all of a sudden now we're flush with cash. And now we want to de-Bruce because we got all this money sitting around. What the hell? Why aren't you restructuring that money? Why aren't you sending your priorities to take care of the people who have been here for years? And the businesses that have been here for years, and make sure they've got clean, good, drinkable water. Okay, that's what I thought. No comment. Because the thing is, you all know you're spending the wrong money in the wrong places. You all are running down dump trucks, and you're spending money on Parks and Rec, and you're spending money on the golf course. And
You
you're
want to address this?
I would love to.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, am I finished? Wait a minute, am I finished? No, I'm
You
not.
just asked if anybody would have wanted to address this, so.
But I'm
we're
not
ready
finished.
to.
The point is that all this money, especially outside money, and you guys are flush with cash, and now you want to de-Bruce, and you want to do this, that, and the other. Why isn't any of that being spent on the things that really matter, which is giving us, I buy water from your water stand all the time. I can't drink it. I can't cook with it. I use it for two things. I take showers, I wash my laundry, and I wash my dishes. That's the only thing I can use your water for. Because I'm afraid of it.
Okay, if you would like to, after the meeting, me and you can sit down, and I can go over a list of items with you. It's gonna take about an hour, and I'll gladly sit here with you.
Me too.
Okay? And I'll show you what we as a board have been fighting now for years. Okay? And maybe you'll understand.
No, I don't understand. Because
If you
you're
will come
spending-
to every meeting, you would see this stuff happening every meeting.
No, I don't have to come to every meeting. I can look around with the CCMD. I see a brand new Ford Ranger pickup. I see another Ford pickup. I see a new skid steer loader. I see all kinds of equipment. Okay, what's wrong with buying a 5-year-old pickup instead of a brand new pickup? There's nothing wrong with it. But I see all this money that's coming in from the outside that you guys want to de-Bruce because the sports and the golf course and
The money's not coming from the outside.
that's what you put in the paper, and that's what you put on the ballot.
The-
If you read the ballot, it says basically we have had an excess amount of money coming in. Listen to me before
Yes.
you talk.
Yes.
We've had an excess amount of coming in from outside the district to the golf course and the campground. That's on your de-Brucing bill.
Yes, and we
Okay,
did.
and so you got all this excess money coming in.
We gotta give it to, we can't keep that money. That's the reason why we're trying to de-Bruce. It's not excess money. It's not excess money. We can't keep it.
It is from
It's
the,
not.
No,
We
no,
can't
listen to
keep
me,
it.
listen to me. It is from the standpoint that you got all this money coming in from an outside source.
And we can't use it.
Yes, you can.
No, we can't.
Not without
No, we
that ballot
can't.
measure.
Not without that ballot measure. We can't use a dime of it.
Yes, Chairman.
Yes,
Point of
we
order.
can.
Yes, we
No, we
could.
can't.
Yes, we
order.
can. Yes, we can.
What is
And here's the
You
thing.
can't promote that
They
in
have
here.
sat on their ass because he won't let me speak. They have sat on their ass and not put these things in enterprise. That's what bit them in the ass.
We just put them in enterprise.
That's right.
But
After
the
3
thing
and a
about it
half years that we've been begging for it.
The whole idea behind the Bruce and the Tabor Amendment was for you guys not to, and the state, not just you guys, but all government entities, not to impose a new tax without taxpayer approval.
And this isn't.
That's why all of a sudden now we have all these damn fees.
That's
Don't
not-
shake your head, no.
No, we're not gonna tax you.
No, but you're missing the point, you're missing the point. The idea of the Tabor Amendment was that no governmental body can impose a new tax without being approved by the taxpayers.
Yes.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, and that part's not being removed.
No, but listen to me. The other half of the Tabor Amendment, Bruce Amendment, whatever the hell you want to call it, is that the money spent had to be transparent. So what you guys are asking for in your debrucing is you want the ability to spend money any way you see it.
No, it's
No,
Now
still-
listen,
it's
now,
still
no,
gonna be
now listen, I'm
transparent.
not finished. So instead of returning the money to the taxpayer, which is what the Tabor Amendment is all about, is if you have excess money, you have to return it to the taxpayer. Am I right?
Yes.
Am I right?
Yeah,
Everybody agrees on that?
yeah.
Okay? What you're asking for is carte blanche, blank check, spend it any way you want.
No.
For all years forward.
Bingo. So here's the thing. All I'm asking is for you guys to redirect your focus. Okay? I've been dealing with bad water. I've been living here 16 years. Businesses around the whole city are dealing with bad water. You guys are going out and spending money on new trucks, new dump trucks, new this, new that, and then you go out, hang on Jim, and then you go out and you buy this camera system that's supposed to look at the sewer lines or the water lines or whatever, and then you start wanting to sublease it out after you spent hundreds of thousands of dollars for this piece of equipment, and now you want to sublet it out because you don't have the manpower. Where is the focus here? The focus is not on, and it's my personal opinion, the focus isn't on doing the right thing for the Metro District. The focus is on where can we spend this money as fast as we can. And that's the way I see it. And I'm not alone in that opinion.
Can I answer your first question, or can I ask you a question? Do you own your house or do you rent?
Doesn't matter. Does it matter?
Yeah, it does.
No, because I buy water. I buy water from you.
I just want to say this.
No, wait, no. What the hell difference does that make, Jim? I
I'm
buy water from
Trying to explain
Colorado.
the
I'm
situation.
trying to explain the situation.
Okay, but I buy water.
You want us?
I buy water from the Colorado City Metro District.
Absolutely, the man is right.
I buy water from you guys.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I buy water from you guys that I've got to
I
consume.
want to
After
answer.
the
I want to
meeting.
answer your questions, but
You
you're not
want the
willing
money
to.
to
No, I
all
no,
years
no,
forward.
No, I'm not.
Hey! Go ahead, Jim. Ask your question.
Everybody calm down now.
Jim, ask your question.
Hey!
Greg's the
Now,
chairman, not you.
everybody calm down.
The young lady would have
I'll
not
answer.
spoken.
I'm a homeowner here.
Okay.
And my
Well,
water's just as shit as the water he buys.
and I understand that. And we've dropped probably $750,000 between meters, redoing the plant, which when I got here, the plant, you could ask Gary, they had tore out.
But it does
Listen,
have to do
guys.
with his question.
After the meeting here,
Yes,
after the
that's
meeting,
what I'm saying.
I will gladly sit down with you, and you,
Yeah.
and
And
you,
I will sit here.
and you can sit here too if you want. Matter of fact, any of the, well, no, there can only be 2 board members, sorry.
Yeah.
But we will gladly sit down and
matter.
explain all this
It
stuff.
doesn't matter because
It
you're-
does matter.
No, because you're going to show me a bunch of figures about how you spend on this and how you spend on that, and how you, but you're not answering.
And if you've got a better idea,
but you're not-
volunteer for this
You're not
board.
answering the
He
basic.
has.
If you've got
You're
a better
not
idea,
answering.
volunteer for the board.
But you're not.
Please.
I don't live here.
Why is the water?
Do you own property here?
No, but I buy water from you guys.
Well, I can't change the rules. If you
But
buy a
here's
lot, buy a $100 lot, and
but
then
here's the
you
question.
can run for the board.
Why is the board focused on spending money on vehicles in Parks and Rec when we all know the water and the infrastructure sucks?
We aren't.
Bullshit.
No, we aren't.
Terry,
We aren't.
I,
Let's-
Jake,
guys.
we spend
Terry,
30 times on water and sewer.
doesn't
50
matter.
times.
You're still buying a new Ford Range pickup. A Ford Range pickup. You're buying new Ford pickups. You're buying this
Afterwards,
equipment.
no,
and you're-
there's no more answering. We gotta move on.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what I paid for the Ford Ranger.
Next session.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it does.
Anything above a dollar is too much.
Thank you.
I just want clean drinking water.
Will
I
you
do
please
too.
stick around till the end?
I will.
Yeah.
I only want drinking water.
Okay. Next is attorney's report. Don't have anything. Agenda items. Resolution 12/2021, camping and abandoned vehicles.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept resolution 12-2021, resolution of the Board of Directors of Colorado City Metropolitan District amending rules and regulations to add provisions regarding overnight camping on the district property and streets and abandoned vehicles with the verbiage change discussed in the previous session.
And I second that.
I have a motion and a second.
Call for a division of the House.
I have a call for the division of the House. Neil, how do you vote?
Yes. Yes.
Bob, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chair votes yes.
Yes.
And yes,
All yeses. Resolution passes. Moving on to dump truck.
Okay, dump truck, like I said, you have the information. There is some stuff that we have to talk about if you can go into discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to not buy a dump truck.
I have a motion to not buy a dump truck this time. Do I have a second?
I'll second it for the sake of discussion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to not buy a dump truck. Any discussion?
Okay, on your question about the depth, if you go into the third page of this, that says 2 owners on the top, this truck is ready to go to work, no depth required. Newer depth filter, new ERG valve, that was part of the question that you had.
All that stuff
earlier.
was, okay.
Yeah, so I figured I wanted to get that in there.
Okay.
I didn't see it when, because they made up the packet on that.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask?
Yes.
Jim, who did you say went and looked at it?
It was Aiden, a utility director, and also Chris Robinson, which is an employee of ours. He's handled equipment all of his life. He's a truck driver down there.
And contracting, I'm still having a hard time swallowing what you told me earlier. $2,500 is what they charged us to go out and get 20 tons of gravel from our pit and take it to the job site.
That was the campground.
And who was it that did that? Stargazer Construction? Now they're local.
Mr. Chairman, along that line,
I yield, yes.
along that same thought, how much did you pay for the campground gravel?
No,
No, how much did you pay to have it hauled in and put down?
it was, like I said, there was $5,000, and each truck was like, it was $2,500.
So you had 2 truckloads of gravel brought in, after you tell us it took 3 days to get all this gravel. Now, come on, how many trucks really hauled and for what cost? Where's the contract?
I'd have to give it Josh and see exactly.
I think, Mr. Chairman, we need to table this until we have some actual numbers. But I can't make that motion at this time.
Greg, go ahead, we're still in discussion.
I've been with this company for 30 years, and I've been on water breaks that's taken 3 days. And I've actually been on a break where I had to call the county, and they helped me haul gravel in because our old truck just wouldn't do it. I'm trying to backfill. We have a break, yes. We got 130 pounds of pressure coming in. If you don't backfill it, it's coming up. And people that you guys hear about, oh, I don't have any water. Well, I can't turn the water, I can't start charging lines until I get something on top of it. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is.
How many times a year does that happen, Greg?
For us, quite a bit.
Well, that's not, no, seriously.
No, seriously, probably.
2 times a year?
No,
No,
we
about 2 times a
probably
month.
have, within this last year, we've probably had 17 breaks.
And so you couldn't talk to High Country
No.
Trucking, you couldn't make a deal with High Country Trucking,
Well,
lives right
you
here
know
in
what?
town, or any of the, I mean, I'm not gonna go
You
through.
know, no, I understand what you're saying.
We are out of
Jay.
order,
Yeah.
let's move on.
But
Let's
I'm just saying, we have a
Mr.
pit,
Chairman,
we have
you're out of
gravel. I'm not opposed to doing what Jake's saying, what everybody, Mr. Cook is saying. Yeah, but here's the thing, I need them now. I don't need them 3.5 hours later because you guys are the ones that's gonna get the call. I don't have any water. Why don't you have any water? I can't charge until I got weight on top of it.
I was informed this afternoon. Anthony, is it Anthony?
Yes.
The road we just put in 200 feet of pipe on. Now, there is another 400 feet that is between where we put new pipe and a valve. There is 5 leaks on that line today.
And that's a rock.
So that's what I'm saying is, this, I came into a district that, like I said, we're starting out kind of with nothing, and there was a shoestring, and I'm trying to pull it together as best I can. Yes, one thing is if you don't have equipment for people to work, you aren't gonna get work done. That's why I put the money into the plant. Yes, we're making improvements. It's not something that's gonna happen right now, but as we're going down the road, it's going to get better and better and better as we develop this. There is a plan for it. It is a situation that we need to look at very seriously. And I don't know.
Do we have any other on this?
So you'd rather spend money on trucks and dump trucks than put money into the pipeline and the people that can put it in and make it work right?
What would you like, Paul?
I'd like to speak.
Go right ahead.
Now, when we looked at the budget last year, and many times I sit down and talk to you, your estimated cost to repair the dump truck we have was $8,000. Then it was $10,000. No problem. Now you don't want the dump truck, you want another truck. Your numbers keep changing every day. Every day.
Can I answer that?
No, not yet.
Because you don't
So
want
it
to
has,
listen
I have the floor, I will speak. You can respond if you let you. Mr. Chairman, these things, I was all for dump trucks and road graders, I pushed for it. But when they went out of their way to not use the equipment, to hire externals, when they had equipment sitting there, this is a waste. You yourself said, hey, these contracts are better than what we've got. And we did them. That was one of your motions. Let's use the contracts. Now it's time to continue using the contracts. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield.
Can I answer the?
Go ahead, Jim. Please make it brief.
When you asked me what it was gonna take, yeah, it was refurbishing the bed. It was not an engine that is ready to blow. Now, we did get an estimate on the engine. It's things that have progressively gotten worse on the truck pod.
Anybody else? We have a motion and we have a second on not buying a dump truck. Neil? How do you vote? No on not buying it?
Who really wants to buy it?
Okay. Bob?
Is that it, maybe?
I vote no, we're not buying a dump truck.
No on not buying the dump truck, or yes on not
Not
buying
buying
the
a
dump truck?
dump truck, no to buying
double
a dump
negative.
truck.
So yes.
So how?
You're the one that worded the motion.
That's right.
You
We
said
all changed.
not
it.
buying a dump
If you
truck.
go with his verbiage, I don't want a dump truck.
Do you want a dump truck or no dump truck?
No, I vote no on the motion to not buy it.
Okay, that's what I thought. And you're saying yes on the motion
Yes.
to not buy it. I'm voting no on the motion.
No.
And I vote no.
So motion fails.
So you're gonna waste more money.
So, no, there isn't any motion on the table right now. Do I have any other motions on the table?
I make a motion that we buy a dump truck, because we need something. From looking at our budget.
Okay, I have a motion, to purchase the dump truck at this time. Do I have a second? Go ahead, Neil.
I will second that to get into discussion.
Okay, I've got a second, so discussion.
Serious.
So I missed the discussion on that study session. I'm sorry I was late. I was struggling getting on. So I don't think I heard enough to convince me that we have explored the bids or the different offers or different ways to buy a truck, or even the different sizes. So I don't know enough about this particular purchase request.
Does,
Yes,
okay, does anybody else
more options.
Does anybody else have any questions on this? Cause I do, but I'll yield the floor to
My
anybody else.
concern is,
Go for it.
my concern is if we don't get a dump truck, what's it gonna cost us? Because I think the $2,500 or the $300 we called per load is pretty expensive, because, I mean, I think maybe $200 or $150 to haul it might be, I don't know, but we need to come up with solutions. We need a truck somewhere to haul, because we got a lot of breaks right now, and we have nothing to haul away with.
Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Yes, do you yield, Harry?
I yield.
Yes.
Where are you getting the gravel at now?
The gravel pit.
How are you getting it there?
We're using,
How are you putting it in the ditch? Where's it, how are you hauling it?
how we're hauling it right now is with our 550. It's only a ton or 2 tons.
So you are hauling gravel and putting it in the ditch. So it's not like we're out of not being
Well,
able to
but
haul.
the thing is by the time
No, you either haul it or you don't.
Hey, you
Mr.
asked
Chairman,
them a question
at
and
this
I'm trying
point,
to tell you.
I'm done with that. We are hauling gravel. Now, I agree with Harry on, and even Neil, that we need numbers. Bring us some numbers of what we actually paid so that we can look at them, and we have not even put anything out to bid yet on it. You yourself, Mr. Chairman, said a long time ago, let's get some bids on these outside contracts. Maybe it's time, and I was the one for trucks. I'm against it now after seeing how they've handled the money over the last year. It's time we start looking at those outside contracts. I yield.
Anybody else?
Just for clarification here, this is a brand new dump truck?
No.
No.
No. What year
It's
is
a
it?
2013.
2013.
Brand new dump truck cost $100,000 or more.
Like
That's
I
all I
said,
wanted to do, I just needed that clarification.
could I add a little bit, Craig, to it?
Yes.
We've looked all over auctions, wherever. I even had guys that go to auctions all the time and look at equipment. Anything that we're looking at getting that is going to be usable, salvageable, you're looking anywhere from 40 to 45,000 at the low end to 100,000, like you said. I found one that was for sale, just like what we had, 1998, or I think it was an 89, is what we had, was an 89. They wanted $40,000 for it, just like ours. It was probably in working condition, whatever. If you've looked any time lately at looking at buying a truck or anything, your car locks don't have anything on them. You cannot buy them. If you're looking at a truck, the other day I seen just an F-250 that they wanted $59,000 for it, and it's 2 years old. So that market right now, the market right now for any kind of used new is ridiculous. And we ran across this, like I said, it was something that I think was in our price range. That's why I wanted to have the guys go up and look at it to see if there is something that we can use that would benefit us. You know?
I'm an auctioneer and appraiser, and I do appraisals on equipment for my living. And you're right, equipment is very expensive now. That's why I'm saying to the board, why could you not go to Austin Clennon or to High Country Trucking and say, if we need you at 2 o'clock in the morning and your normal rate is $150 a load, but if you're coming out at 2 in the morning, we'll top it off with another $100. So we're going to pay you $250 a load or $350 a load. At $35,000, $40,000, $45,000 for a dump truck, how many loads does that get you in an emergency situation?
If it's that price.
And they would. I'm sure if you went to Austin Clinton or to High Country Trucking and said, and they don't have great big trucks, and I got a load of gravel delivered to my place from Austin Clinton for $400. And that was top grade gravel. That wasn't just gravel you could use to throw in a ditch. I wanted high grade gravel. You could probably get a good load of gravel, and if you supply the gravel, then you're only paying for the trucking.
So, I'm gonna take my turn now since I let everybody else talk. I'm having a hard time swallowing that $2,500, guys. Okay, having a real hard time.
Like I said, I don't know exactly the numbers. I know it's
well, this is my opinion on this, and then I'm going to shut up and we're going to vote on this. Is that we need some hard figures, because right now I've been preaching about personnel problems, and we've yet to solve our personnel problems. Okay, we still are short-manned, short-staffed. And the biggest complaint that I've had from the two people that are in charge of this matter, okay, is money. We don't have the money to get the new personnel. But yet we're willing to spend the 35 grand here on a piece of equipment. Quite frankly, I wouldn't mind seeing us have. I think it might be useful, and I think it's a fair price that you found it at. But at the same time, and I'm not sure what his figures, if he's just pulling them out of thin air, but I have a very hard time swallowing that $2,500 figure. Okay, I'm actually more along his lines of figures of $200 to $300 a load. Okay, especially since we're supplying the gravel. All they got to do is supply the truck, and we can call up. And I know Austin, and for that matter, I know the guys over at High Country Fence. Okay, and I'll bet you the guys at Skygazer would do the same thing too. I'll bet you they'll all put in bids, and I'll bet you they'll all be available to us at the drop of a freaking phone call. I could put money on it that they would probably put a premium on it, but if we could probably make a contract with them, hey, we need you at 2 o'clock in the morning with a load of gravel, and we need you here, and we need you right now. How much is that going to cost us? Extra.
Okay, and in the same situation, the spoils piles that will be set on the side when we recover and do what we need to. We're gonna have to pay them to haul them off too, so that's what you're looking at.
So we need numbers on this though,
But you
Jim.
get a 550, you can haul your own stuff off.
Mm,
It might take you 2 or 3 trips,
right.
but you can haul your own stuff off with your own truck.
Right now,
You don't have to hire somebody to haul your own stuff off.
I'm just saying,
So you're paying overtime for your employees, which is a hell of a lot less than
Well, I don't know about
buying a
that.
truck.
Yes, I yield the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you listen to what the manager said, he's gone out and shopped. He never looked at the other side of the book. We have to look at the other side of the book. We have to have both scenarios before we can
Yeah.
make a decision. With that, I yield.
So we have a motion on the table to buy the dump truck, and we have a second. Let's call the question. Bob?
No.
Neil?
No,
Chair votes no.
Yes.
1 yes, 4 no's. So at this time, I'm not speaking for the board, I'm just speaking as the chair here. I would suggest that you come back to us with better numbers,
okay.
with some good, honest contract numbers. Maybe even see if Austin or, not just Austin, make the offer to all and anybody that wants to do it. I don't care that has the right equipment.
Okay.
And they wanna come in here and talk to us, that's great. Or they wanna do the offer and just submit it, that's great too. Moving on to the next one. Letter of authorization. Do we,
I make a motion that we, approve the letter of authorization.
I have a motion to approve the letter of authorization, and I have a second. Any discussion on that?
Call the question.
Call the question. Chair votes yes. Bob?
No.
Neil?
I don't understand what.
This is the letter of authorization so that they can go down and get tags on the vehicle.
How did it happen before?
Apparently the county wants them to have the letter now.
He went down to get the tags the other day,
It was pre-COVID before.
pre-COVID, and he
Point
went
of
down
order,
and,
Mr. Chairman, we're not in discussion.
Yeah, that's true. Neil, yes or no?
I abstain.
okay.
I forgot what we were.
Terry.
And yes.
Harry, yes. Okay, 3 yeses, 1 no, and an abstain. You have your letter. We'll sign it afterwards. Okay, preservation of records. Bob, this is yours.
Mr. Chairman, I move at this time to remove the 30-day deletion of executive session recordings and, let's see here, and that they be held by the president, chairman, or a copy of them be held by the president and chairman of the board. In other words, there will be one held in our regular records department and a preservative copy only for the executive session be held by the chair.
Okay, and I'm assuming you're talking about this chair,
The chair, whoever the chair is at the time.
because I wasn't.
You're not the chair, you're just
Yeah.
filling in for the chair.
Okay. And, do I have a second to that?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second to stop the deletion. Let me just make sure that this is correct. To stop the auto deletion after 30 days of executive session records and to maintain them indefinitely.
Indefinitely.
And to maintain them indefinitely and give a copy to be maintained by the chairman of the board.
Only for the executive session.
Only for the executive session.
Correct.
Okay. Does everybody understand that one? I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Yes, go for it.
How will that copy be made? Will that be a recorded copy or a written copy?
It's recorded.
That's a recorded copy.
It's on the thumb drive.
Correct, on a thumb drive.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Then I guess I call the question. Harry, how'd you vote?
I'll vote yes.
Chair votes yes. How do you vote?
Yes.
Neil, how do you vote?
Yes?
It's a unanimous decision. You got all that down? Okay. Number two, go ahead, Bob.
Mr. Chairman, I move that all attempts be made to recover known deleted records by an outside IT person.
So I have a motion to attempt to recover all deleted records by an outside IT person. Can you be specific on what outside IT person?
Not a employee.
Not an employee. Okay,
I'll second it just for discussion.
okay, I've got a motion and a second for discussion.
And items as being pictures, what?
If you want to bring that up, yes. You know what was discussed in executive session, and when you say it's deleted, a lot of times on certain devices, they are not. Just because you delete something, a lot of times it sends them to a trash bin or something else where they can be recovered.
And this is just executive session stuff we're talking
Yes.
about?
That's all it is.
I can't,
Yes, you can.
I wasn't there.
Doesn't matter. We're not voting on whether or not you were there. We're voting on whether or not to recover deleted records. Public records that have been deleted.
These, again, must have been verbal. These were not written records, were they?
They were photographs, like we said.
That's what I'm saying. I want to
Can't
know
you remember?
specific what it is that you're looking at.
I can't remember.
Okay.
I'm gonna hide it here, so I think
Yeah.
I guess I have a comment. I was sitting here stewing about this for a while. I was offended by the suggestion that we swept anything under the rugs. There was clear evidence provided by professional people. There was solid belief by 80% of the people in the room and one person on the phone. And I think, and I'll go on record to say this, it's a witch hunt, but I'm not opposed to the motion. But I think it's one more example of bullying that it goes on a regular basis here. And I think that's what it is. Not sweeping anything under the rug. It's
if you want to bully me, go right ahead.
No, I'm not bullying you.
The person that got bullied was the one that got knocked down. Now, I'm the one that made the statement, so if you want to address me directly, please feel free to do so.
No, I'm not talking about you, Bill. I'm talking about you, what you mentioned, and I've been stewing about that, because it's interesting that you were able to come to that conclusion without being in the executive
I was
session.
asked by the individual to do an extensive investigation, and I have done so.
Okay, all right. And I believe that. And as I said,
And
I'm
I
not opposed
believe
to
that
the emotion.
that investigation led me to believe that members of this board knew about the situation, did not address it, that there was a request to address it, it did not get addressed, and you could have gotten ahead of this and made the individual feel comfortable, make him understand it was an accident, and moved on, but you guys chose to do nothing.
That's where I will not agree with you. I didn't choose to do any of that.
Well, when
And
did
you can throw all the generalities that you want out and go ahead. But your investigation did not include talking to me if I knew anything about any of it
I called you.
before the executive session.
I called you
How long ago was that?
back in May.
Okay,
Okay, well,
Okay.
So,
But the biggest,
we've got
I think
a
the biggest
motion.
question,
This is here,
I
that's
called
not
Neil in
for
there.
you.
we got a motion here on the table
transparency.
to attempt to recover deleted records from the executive session by an outside IT person. We have a second to that. So at this point, because this is driving me absolutely insane, because I got no idea even what's being discussed here. But at this point, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak.
Go ahead.
Just quickly, let me point out, because you say you're out of the loop, consider this when you're considering your vote. Your manager has just admitted that records were deleted. That is a violation of state law.
see
Thank
this,
you.
As a request. From,
you didn't admit that, Bob.
Yes, he did. He just
Check
said,
your hearing aids.
he just said photographs. I didn't bring up the word
I
photograph.
call the question.
Okay, question's been called. Mr. Cook, how do you vote?
Yeah.
Neil, how do you vote?
No,
Terry, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote no.
Harry, how do you vote?
No.
Oh, for the love of God.
It's called a record. Put you in the big chair, didn't they?
And I wasn't even here.
A matter of transparency, Greg.
Yes, attempt to recover. Motion passes. Okay, old business.
no, yeah, property offers.
Oh, property offers, sorry. Skipped right over that one.
Mr. Chairman, I move at this time to table all property offers.
To table or to refuse?
To table all property offers.
Well, table brings them back.
If they want to bring back reasonable numbers, I'll be happy to look.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second? No second, motion dies. Let's start this over again.
Refuse all property offers.
I have a motion to refuse all property offers. Do I have a second? I will second that one. We have a motion and a second to refuse all property offers. Do we have any conversation on this?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I just would raise a question why everybody else for the last years has at least gotten a counter offer and why we aren't giving people who made offers tonight the same respect.
So I can only answer for myself. The offers that were made tonight, in my opinion, were not even close to being anything that we've accepted here recently.
I agree, but that doesn't change that we've always given a counter.
Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Yes, go ahead.
We have given counters when we thought we could be fair and give something, maybe for the betterment of the community. I see no reason we've done that by a vote, but we don't need to do that, as we have no precedent in our rules to do that. Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, sir. I don't know if that offer was a little bit low. I mean, 25% or maybe 22% of that property you can get similar lots for under $500 with the tax process. We're going through some of that. I'm willing to bring our offer up, but we would like to do business with you guys and purchase your lots. I would love to hear a reasonable counter, but if you look at the comparables, you know, you can get 25% of that property for $500 a lot. That's why I thought $1,250 was a fair offer considering what the comparables were. I think we could probably go as high as $2,000 per lot. That'd kind of be the limit there. Otherwise, we would move on them through taxes and just have to wait for them.
Hold on just 1 second, then I'll get right with you. Real quick, Jim, what is your assessment of these lots?
Those assessment of those lots, there is no water, there is no sewer. I did talk to Mr. Nelson. He came in the other day. I told him, he says, well, there's a water line there. I said, yeah, it's there, but it is not serviceable. It has been broke for years. The fire hydrants were pulled out. I don't even know what kind of shape it would be in.
So there's no water, no sewer on any of the lots that are
on this Unit 7.
on the Unit 7?
Yeah, which is east of the highway.
Bernier scored.
Yeah.
Mr. Collins.
Okay, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One of the reasons I back off of this is the same discussion we've had in the past due to unbuildable lots. These are being flipped to people that are unknowing about whether or not they can use a piece of land. So many people buy these things. What he's doing with them is up to him. But I see no reason to sell a man, like he said he wants to gain up to 100 lots. For what? If it can't be used, they're going to be resold to people that do not know how to do their due diligence, and then they're pissed at the board. With that, I yield.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I call the question.
Question's been called. Harry, how do you vote?
I say no.
How do you vote?
Nope.
Sheriff says no.
What's the question?
Come on, Bob, you need a motion. Not sell lots.
Rejecting the
lots.
I'm rejecting the lots.
Okay.
You didn't ask me.
Neil,
So, would you restate the motion, please?
the motion is to refuse sale of the lots, to refuse sale of the lots across the board.
I vote yes to refuse, to decline the offer. So I would vote yes to refuse to sell.
So he votes.
He votes no.
Hey, so you vote no. Okay.
No,
So we're not
No.
maybe I'm wording this incorrectly.
I think so.
Yeah.
Could you read me the motion again, please, as he stated it? Please.
No, that's what I have to
Mr.
listen
Chairman,
to.
shall we start again?
Yes, let's start again, please.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to refuse the sale of these lots.
To refuse the sale of the lots. I will second it. Now, call the question. We're refusing the sale of the lots. Yes or no? Harry?
Just in Unit 7.
Just in all of them.
No.
Nope.
Yes. And Neil?
Yes.
And Bob? Motion passes to refuse sale of lots.
So they can come back with an offer, right?
They can come back with the offers. That's totally up to them.
Okay.
Then we make the counter.
Better off.
We're just not doing any counter offer.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
Okay, old business.
Old business, got covenants, lawyers, security cameras, firewall switches, like I said, with the, micro. I've been waiting on all of that except for the lawyer. They're still there. We're send up a contract with Mr. Finger.
New business. Unless there's any other old business.
Mr. Chairman, can I question the old business?
Sure.
Firewall switches, I still have not been contacted, so I have no idea where we're even at on that. And, the covenant lawyer, we're not talking about John Finger on covenant lawyer, we were talking about an actual law. He does repossessions and other stuff. You had said you had found somebody in Springs or somewhere.
Yeah.
What's our status on that?
And I haven't got contact back with him, so.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, I yield.
Okay, new business. I don't think we have an executive session this time,
No.
at least I wasn't informed.
No.
Okay, so, moving on to CCACC.
Okay, we have three, two houses and a garage. They've been site visited, they've gone through the zoning and everything, and I, make a motion that we approve all three of them.
We have a motion to approve all three, 4300 Mustang Way, 4924 Isabel Drive, and 4979 Becker Place. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
We have a second. Discussion.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, go right ahead.
At this time, I'm going to have to vote against these because we're not making any progress on, actions that were taken a year or so ago. Thank you, I yield.
Any other discussion?
Call the question.
Question has been called. Neil?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Harry?
Yes.
Yes.
Bob?
No.
Motion has been approved. Actions, spreadsheet applicable updated by Mr. Davenport.
Actually, that should be by the committee.
By the committee?
The
Yeah.
CCAAC committee, yes.
Okay.
No.
Any correspondence?
No.
At this time, I am going to adjourn the meeting. Have a nice day.
Thank you.